We've already re-reviewed the Samsung Galaxy Nexus once during its transition from Ice Cream Sandwich to Jelly Bean 4.1, but now we're looking at the same handset running a new flavour, Android Jelly Bean 4.2. If I just give you a quick recap of some of the specs here, we have a 4.65-inch HD Super AMOLED display, and of course there's a buttonless fascia on the bottom if I just show you, which means that the UI is designed specifically for enjoying things like games and video without any intrusions. And this is something that came in with Ice Cream Sandwich and has been carried across to stock Android Jelly Bean 4.1 and now 4.2. If I take it on its side here, you'll also see it's got a curved design. The glass is actually curved on the front and there's a plastic construction all the way around the Samsung Galaxy Nexus with a textured back and a centrally mounted camera, 5 megapixel camera with an LED flash. If I show you the lock screen, that's where we first see some of the differences between Jelly Bean 4.1 and 4.2. First and foremost, there's now a new clock, and if I swipe from the lock screen to the left, you'll see that it now has a quick launch for the camera. That's because the quick launch, which used to be on the lock wheel, has disappeared. Now you can just unlock the phone in any direction from this lock wheel. And of course, swiping up still launches Google Now, as it did with Android Jelly Bean 4.1. Swiping right now reveals lock screen widgets. So here we have a calendar application, and if I tap this plus icon here, you can actually add various other things. So we have the calendar, we can add another clock. I have an app which obviously supports a flashlight widget. There's also Gmail, Google Plus posts, and even text messages. So you can have additional features from the lock screen without even having to unlock the phone. So it's really, really nice, and it's kind of enriched the home screen, the lock screen, sorry, on the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. Past the lock screen, of course, we also have a new UI. So we still have Project Butter running, which means that the UI is very fast and slick, considering the age of the hardware at work inside this phone. And as you can see, there's no lag here at all, and the same goes for the applications drawer. It's really lightning fast, and it's lovely to use. The main difference has happened in, if I go to the top here, whereas previously you'd swipe down and you'd have your notifications with, of course, expandable notifications now. You'd also have the option to jump to the settings from this screen. Now, if I swipe back up and use 2 fingers rather than 1, swiping down now reveals a quick settings menu, and you can jump between the two if you want to do this one-handed as well, just by tapping this icon in the top right. So this is a new feature that's part of 4.2, which separates settings from notifications, and it makes it kind of more intuitive. It allows you to quickly get to the thing that you want without any extra thought. So it's a really nice feature. And another thing that's hit Jelly Bean is Daydream. Now Daydream is like a screensaver for the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. It also appears on the Google Nexus 4, of course, made by LG. If I just go into display here, Daydream is like a screensaver. So you have a clock, of course, but you can also have things like your Google Currents, scrolling photos, or this nice little color screen which kind of transitions over time. And this is for when you dock the phone or plug it in and charge it at the wall and you want something happening on the screen that isn't just the standard screen off or the standard lock screen. So that's really nice. And the last thing that's really different in the main UI is gesture typing. So now if I start to type, rather than pressing the keys, I can simply drag my finger over the keyboard. It's something we've seen from other companies, but now it's been integrated into Google, into Android Jelly Bean. So that's really, really a nice feature to see. The last key difference between the two is, of course, the camera. Now the camera was never a fantastic camera. It was great at macro, but the moment you drop the light, you get a lot of noise and things like that. That unfortunately is still apparent. That's probably more of a hardware thing. But the UI is a lot more intuitive and it's a lot faster. You can now access settings by tapping this button in the bottom right, or you can just press and hold, and by dragging your finger, I can do things like change exposure settings, white balance settings, flash settings, and even jump to the front-facing camera, all with one finger. So that's really lovely. And another addition is this feature here, which is called Photosphere 360. We previously had the panorama mode, which came in with Android Ice Cream Sandwich, but Photosphere actually allows you to stitch together a 3D mesh, which I will show you now. It effectively means you can stand at one point and rotate around, and it will show you a complete 360 based on a whole range of photos that you stitch together. So as you can see, I'm not just moving left and right here, I'm actually able to move up and down and see this whole vista, which is quite impressive. It's a lovely new feature, and the camera does a really good job of stitching it together despite having no extra hardware compared to the likes of the new quad-core LG made Nexus 4. So although some of the features like Daydream and Photosphere might be a little gimmicky, the user experience is still fantastic, and the enhancements brought on by Android Jelly Bean 4.2 only make using the Samsung Galaxy Nexus a more fulfilling experience. One that offers a little more to a device that comparatively looks somewhat long in the tooth. The Nexus 4 might be a year younger, but the gap between the two isn't anywhere near as big when you consider what's been brought on by Android Jelly Bean 4.2.